Hey y'all! Well, time for a little Christmas video. And I thought we'd do something different today that would be really fun. I don't know if you guys watch Kevin over at Skylabs Audio. I'll link the channel below. He's got a really fun channel that he has a vintage hi-fi store that does mostly solid state stuff like, rants and, all those different receivers from back in the 70s, and doesn't do a lot of tube stuff, I don't think, but it's sort of the same thing. It's just talking about hi-fi and enjoying hi-fi for what it is. And one of the things he said several times is we got to be careful about getting too serious about all of this, because at the end of the day, it's just a hobby and it's something we enjoy, and let's have fun with it. There's no point in trying to make this personal or trying to have beefs with people or just other nonsense. It's just a hobby. Again, I've changed my position on several things, and I'm sure a couple of years from now I'll look back on some of the videos and some of the declarations I've made and just cringe at what I was saying. But that's part of this, is learning and growing. And none of us knows everything. I know I don't. And I know I've said this a bunch of times. I know some people think that I think that I'm some kind of tube amp guru, and I'm not. And sometimes I think I just get lucky when I start messing around with something and something clicks or makes sense when I playing with stuff. And for me, sometimes it is just, let's put this resistor in, let's change this value, let's see what that does. And I know there's a lot of electrical engineers that have studied all the theory behind all this stuff, and they think I'm crazy, but I'm just having fun. So let's have fun with this hashtag HiFi Tag. It was a thing that Kevin put out last summer, and I just saw it last week, but I thought it'd make a fun Christmas video. So here we go. 11 questions. And answer in the comments what your answers are to these same questions. And let's have fun with this. I do enjoy reading the comments. And I know that a lot of channels are just the channel owner talking at you. And, you guys are commenting between yourselves. But I try to be engaged in the comments. And I know sometimes I might get a little defensive or a little snarky, but I try not to. So let's try to just have fun with this one. Number 1, name the piece of hi-fi gear that sent you down the hi-fi rabbit hole. And for me, it's easy. It's the Noob Sound 6P1. Previous to that, I just had, my solid state amp. I had a CD player. I'd given away my turntable. And I honestly didn't listen to music a lot because the system I had really didn't sound good unless it was cranked up. And it was like speakers and everything were tuned to like high SPL kind of sound. And I'd kind of grown out of that. And so I just didn't, I listened to music in my car and stuff like we all do, but I just didn't listen to music at home a lot. And when I put that 6P1 in with my old CD deck, and then I bought some Klipsch RP600M speakers to go with it that were on sale, it was like, wow, that's different. And I could actually enjoy listening at moderate, like 80-ish dB sound pressure levels. And that just got me hooked. And from there, started playing with the circuits. And I've always enjoyed electronics, and trying to understand circuits, and tubes were somehow relatable to me, that I could kind of visualize what was going on. And that sent me down this rabbit hole that I'm still going down. And I hope y'all are enjoying the journey along with me. So, next, name the favorite piece of hi-fi gear that you currently own. And I think it's these EAR 834 clone phono stages. It just really brings life to vinyl. And, before I've been listening to my CD deck, and then I bought like a Yamaha, not their top shelf, but a fairly $300-400 nice CD deck. And when I tried vinyl again, it was like, man, that sounds horrible. And then, I bought a little cheap phono stage off Amazon, and that sounded really bad. And then I bought, a little higher level one because I kept thinking there's got to be something to vinyl or this many people wouldn't listen to it. And it still sounded really bad. Once I hooked that up, that brought magic to vinyl, which kind of brought me full circle in my whole audio experience back to what I used to listen to, but this is such a better level. And it really brought an intimacy to the music, and just the whole ritual of vinyl is what makes me really enjoy listening, is sitting down and cleaning the record and putting it on and looking at the jacket and just the whole kind of experience. It turned it into a kind of a meditative time for me that really has helped my mental health and just, my overall happiness in life. So this guy right here wouldn't give it up. The other stuff I could change out, but this is staying. Okay, name the product you bought that you regretted. Right now, I would say it was that Tascam 32 tape deck. And not saying that in the future it might not bring me some enjoyment, but that was something that I probably should have kind of slowed down on this whole reel-to-reel thing. I got really excited about that first reel-to-reel deck I got, the little Akai, I think it was 4000D, or the GX 4000D, and it sounded so good. It was like, oh man, let me get, and then I bought a couple of other, 7-inch decks, and then I just jumped in and bought that. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of work to get that doing what it should. And being like a professional studio deck, it's got all these adjustments and stuff that were kind of designed for an audio engineer to be working with, not a consumer. And so maybe at some point I'll be happy I got it, but for right now, I kind of regret doing that. But hey, future will tell what that is. It might be something, again, that I say that I can't live without. Okay, if you could only use one demo song, what would it be? And it'd be easy here to go, well, there's a couple, but that's not what the question is. If I had to pick one, would be off Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue, Chili Con Carne. It's just, I know what that sounds like. And it's got great snappy percussion. It's got like the stand-up bass. It's got horns. It's got Kenny Burrell's hollow body guitar. I mean, it just covers everything. And it's so well recorded and mastered, the Blue Note version of it, especially listening to it with this vinyl, I can really judge what an amp or a speakers or whatever component that I'm wanting to check, a phono cartridge, whatever, I can really judge it by that song. So if I was stuck with one, that would be it. And I'll put the link below to that as well. If money was no object, what would be your perfect system? And I'm going to go in a little different direction than some people may have gone in. I would go in the direction of, if money was no object, would be to design my house around a perfect listening space that was also a comfortable space to live in. Not just like a dedicated listening room, but pay somebody to come in, and again, money no object, right? pay somebody to come in and just, even if it was in this same physical house, tear walls out, do whatever they needed to do to make an acoustically perfect listening space to then listen to different gear in. So it wouldn't be so much the gear, it would be spending the money to have a room that got out of the way of the gear instead of the compromise I'm dealing with now. Because at this point, the system still wouldn't be the most important thing, because I feel like my room is probably killing the quality of the sound more so than the gear is. So, perfect system, and the system is the whole environment. I think the room is probably where I would spend my money if I had an unlimited budget. Who knows, I may do that anyway. Okay, next question. If you had to choose one music format, what would it be? Vinyl. I mean, I know streaming is convenient. There's other things to have, like background music playing in the house and all that kind of stuff, but for the kind of meditative listening sessions that I really enjoy, where like I intentionally pick out an album, you put it on, you clean it, you're looking at the cover art, lay down on the couch, put the lights down low, put the music on, and just lay down, close my eyes, and just get lost into the music. Vinyl's it for me. I don't need a streaming thing where I'm tempted to get up and click, 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 and start changing, or and I don't want to be surprised with some just random on a radio or somebody else's playlist or whatever. I want to lay down and close my eyes and just fall into the music. And to me, that's what vinyl does. Okay. This is a fun one. What is the stereo product people love that you just don't understand? Preamps. I just do not get the obsession with preamps. It's like people have streamers or CD decks or, a phono stage or a turntable with a phono stage that puts out 2 volts RMS, and then they've got amplifiers that reach full volume at less than 1 volt RMS. Most of them do. And they still want to put a preamp in the system. I just do not understand it, and I don't think I ever will. Now, there's cases where they make sense, like on my KT120 monoblocks, when I realized that they need about 2.5 volts RMS to reach full power. And so you have to have some external gain between the source and the amp. And, it needs some way to control the volume and all that stuff too. But mainly it's because it needs that gain. And if you're designing amplifiers, to try to keep it a single stage so it's simple and it doesn't quite have enough gain to get where you want to be, that may be where we end up with that 6C33C. It may need a preamp. So all you preamp lovers, there you go. Don't cry about that thing needing some gain to reach full volume, because you guys all love preamps. And I know I ran about this, but I will just never understand this obsession with preamps. But all I got to do is look at the number of views. If I put a preamp video out there, it just goes through the roof. And people go crazy about preamp shootouts. And yeah, I guess it harkens back to the time when if you had a real system, you had a power amp and then you had a preamp. And that's the only thing I can figure. Put in the comments below about what this obsession's all about. So, yeah, that's easy to answer. Next question. What is your next upgrade? And I think it's going to be something with my turntable. I'm not sure exactly whether it's going to be, the table or, a better tone arm. I mean, I really like these ATOC, was this OC9 XML cartridges. These things sound really good. And I think I've got my step-up transformer situation dialed in. I kind of went through, several of those. And of course, I love this phono stage, but I feel like that as good as that Technics 100C is, that there may be something else. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about, I was thinking about buying the new Technics, I think it's a 1300G, but what held me back was they didn't put the titanium tone arm on it. They left the aluminum tone arm. It's the same as the one I've got, I think. And so, yeah, it's got a nicer platter and all that stuff, and it's got more mass, and yeah, I don't, may or may not be audible, but the idea of having a different tone arm was intriguing, and it didn't do that. And I just don't like those DJ turntables. And so, really thinking about looking for probably a $3,000-ish turntable to put in my system. And yeah, that's probably going to be my next upgrade. But it might be a while. So the next question, what is a piece of equipment that you've kept in your system for looks alone? And it's going to be the same one that I answered earlier, the Tascam 32. Man, that thing looks awesome. And I mean, anybody that walks in my house and sees that thing sitting there up against the wall, they're like, wow, this is some serious stuff. And I don't know, that just really gets my motor running, seeing that sitting there in my system. And it doesn't even have cables hooked up right now. It's just sitting there. But, man, it looks cool. So, for me, it's that big 10.5-inch reel-to-reel deck. So, the next question. What is the last piece of equipment that made you want to re-listen to your entire music collection? And I would say it was that pair of EML 300B tubes. When I put those in my 300B amp, I thought to myself, this is what people are talking about when they talk about a 300B amp. This is the sound. It was detailed without being fatiguing. It was warm without being muddy, while still had lots of sparkle, and the bass was smooth without being boomy. I mean, and stuff just sounds different. And I really have been going back through my vinyl collection, listening to it with those tubes. It just, yeah, it's that good. And then finally, this one, I don't know about this one. What is an accessory that has come out recently that you can't imagine living without? And I don't have a whole lot of accessories. I mean, I've got, some stuff related to my turntable maybe, like the little stylus weight's kind of nice, and I've got a little high mag magnifier so I can look at the stylus to make sure it's clean. And then I got this little Hudson HiFi stylus cleaner that's kind of cool. But as far as could live without, I think I could live without all of that. You can set the stylus weight pretty close with just the doing the little balance thing and then setting the weight on the little counterweight thing. I think it would be the little Audio-Technica cleaning brush thing that I use. And because without it, the records are going to be noisy. There's so much dust in my house, and like I can't put a record on my turntable without dolly hair being just like vacuum to it. And I know that's not going to sound good, having the needle dragging across dolly hair. And so I'm going to put that in the link below. It's this little AT, and here's the part number of it. And it's just this kind of half-rounded brush, and it comes with like some cleaning fluid that you put in the back, and it's got a little stand that you put on. I use it for every record I put on, so I would say that's something I couldn't live without. So anyway, again, put in the comments below what your answers to these questions are, and let's kind of make a fun little thing out of it. And hopefully that gave you a little insight into where I'm at and kind of what I'm into. And hopefully you can share with me what you're into so I can learn more about you guys too. And to wrap this up, I just want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. This is not something that I would have ever dreamed would happen, that somehow I would get semi-popular on YouTube and people would want to buy things that I'm making with my own hands. And, you know, being able to do some, you know, they say there's nothing new, but I do think there is some kind of new thoughts that I've brought, hopefully, to HiFi that have inspired you to go down this rabbit hole with me. And, yeah, I could be retired, I could just be laying on the couch, but this is so much more fun. And it's been fun doing it with all of you. And again, without you guys, none of this would be happening. So, thank you for your support. I hope y'all have a happy holidays. I hope y'all have a happy new year. And until the next video, have a nice day.